There's like a whole subgenre of films of like Blake Lively wears clothes.
Yes. A Simple Favor wasn't enough. Now we have to have another Simple Favor. It's Paul Feig returning with a sequel to his hit. What year was that?
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Comedy mystery fashion show. And Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively are back with more shenanigans and more mystery.
Gotta figure out what she's up to.
We all process the happiest day of our life differently.
I really loved the first A Simple Favor. It's a movie that I think about all the time. And I think about it because it really gets to the heart of what it is like to be a mom, to have young kids, and how you make friends with other women that you would never have known otherwise. Right. And maybe that friendship is true and substantial and lasting. I have many mom friends from when my own son was 4 or 5 years old who are still friends today that I still have lunch with, still text with. But many others in time, it's like, okay, this was like a friendship of convenience. We don't really have a lot in common. You know, we're day drinking, watching our kids play on the floor. That's what that first movie is about. And so I loved it. And I loved the clothes, of course.
Yes.
Paul Feig does not mess around when he makes a movie. And so that costume designer, Renee Erlich Kalfas, is back, thankfully, because like that is the best part of this movie.
It's why we're here.
There's like a whole subgenre of films of like Blake Lively wears clothes.
Yes. Age of Adeline.
Totally. These two movies, I think It Ends With Us is in that too. So anyway, so Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick are back in the sequel, which like really never justifies its existence. This very much feels like, let's take everyone and go to a scenic destination for a sequel. And it's flimsy, but like the scenery is nice. And in theory, it's just nice to see these people back together bantering, but that only lasts so long. So at the end of the first movie, Blake Lively's character Emily has gone to prison, and Anna Kendrick's character Stephanie is a true crime writer. So now she's still a writer, still a mom blogger, and out of nowhere, Emily shows back up at the book signing she's doing of the book about her. It says, "Hey, I'm out of prison and I'm getting married in Capri, and I want you to be there and be my maid of honor." And it's all very contrived, but a lot of this movie is just about watching Blake Lively walk into a room in some like knockout outfit. And so the one when we first see her, it's very clever. I don't know if you notice this, but she's wearing like a power suit, but it's horizontal stripes. So it looks like a prison uniform.
Yeah. And she's got all these like chains around her, like she's Jacob Marley or something.
Right. So she's got like silver cuffs. And chains, like she's broken out of her handcuffs and like gotten onto the runway. And so, you know, it's all the scenery and all the clothes and all the twists. And something is definitely up with this very wealthy Italian guy that she is marrying. Henry Golding, who was her first husband, also is there, which is not a spoiler, is in the trailer. And the kids are still there and other people's relatives show up. So this is kind of fun for a little while. And when it is Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick, you know, bouncing off of each other, is the same screenwriter from the first film. And when it's them, just like there's a meanness, but there's also an affection and a sense that like really nobody understands us but the other. And that runs its course very quickly. And it's just the thing that made the first one interesting was a groundedness. There was a heightened quality to the language and the scenery, but there was like a groundedness to that relationship, and that does not exist here. It feels very flimsy and icky. Eventually, like the ultimate twist, one of the ultimate twists is really gross and not funny at all. I'm going to say that. I can't give it away, but you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Look, I can't defend this movie. And I remember before watching it thinking, why did this go straight to Prime? The first movie was so great. And it was, you know, it did pretty well. And, you know, and then I watched this. I'm like, oh, okay. I see why this is a streaming movie, because it is just about the outfits and the beautiful scenery of Capri. And, you know, them occasionally getting a scene together where they're like bouncing off each other in a really fun way. And, you know, Anna Kendrick is really appealing, and she is working overtime to like keep the plot plates spinning and keep you trying to figure out what's actually happening and who knows about it and who's responsible for this. And, you know, she's spending most of the movie, you know, like under house arrest. And so she's kind of giving it in flashback, and then things are unfolding. So it's not good, but it's never not pleasing. Yeah, if you're here for the outfits and you're here for them and for the scenery, then, you know, you'll have a glass of wine, fold some laundry, whatever. Yeah. The vibe of it is maintained throughout. But it's dumb, you know, and it doesn't add up to much of anything.
I don't think the vibe gets maintained throughout. I think it definitely takes a turn towards something darker and more disturbing. And the first one had some elements of that, but like not to this extent. And I don't think that Feig balances like the really dark elements of this with the light, snappy comedy. Like he wants them like, you know, on a scooter with the wind in their hair, with the sunshine and Capri. He wants all like the Italian romantic trappings.
Right.
But then he wants to go to weird places, weird, sad places, and the balance never feels right to me.
I thought the weird, sad places were, you know, provided fodder for more of the darkly funny banter.
Okay.
Your mileage may vary, and if you found it too dark, I get it, and I hold space for that. But it didn't take me out of it so much. But this isn't good. It's just like an amiable sequel to a much better movie.
Yeah, and it seems like they want a third one. I mean, if you look at what happens at the end there, they're setting up a third one.
They are totally setting one up, and I don't know that anyone needs that, but you know, I guess you always got to leave those options open, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say, gosh, like a 5. And that's mostly for the costume design and the production design. And there's like a line here or there from a supporting player that made me laugh. And yeah, Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick together do have some enjoyable moments. You know, there's like a scene by the pool. Like they get at some truth sometimes, but to such an extent that like it makes me frustrated with how flimsy so much else of it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that further north of you. I'll say like a 6.1 in that I was entertained, but like, I think that given what the first movie is and does, they could have built out something stronger and smarter and richer than they did. But what's here is at least amiably glossy.
All right. Another Simple Favor is on Prime. Will you watch it while you fold your laundry? Let us know.